Now it's time to shift our attention to the world of tennis. Tennis indeed is enjoying a fresh wave of momentum in Nigeria, with renewed attention on the racket sport, once headlined by the likes of Nduka Odizor, who reached the career-high ATP ranking of 52 in the singles and 20 in the doubles sometime around 1984. Now, the resurgence gathered pace after Nigeria's 3-1 victory over Uzbekistan in the Davis Cup World Group 2 playoffs at the Lagos Lawn Tennis Club in Onikan. Now, the win secured a place in the next round, where Nigeria will have to face Morocco. This would be in another group from September 18 to 2026. Now, the result has reignited conversations about the sport's long-term direction, development pathways, and grassroots investment. Now, to speak to us today about the growing optimism around the sport in Nigeria Tennis Federation President, we've got Victor Ochei. Thank you so much, President. Victor, thank you for joining us on the show. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Now, it's great to have this conversation here, especially after Nigeria was able to make a light work of Uzbekistan in that group playoffs. We have not seen tennis grow so much like that, but right now we have hopes, renewed hopes about the sport. Nigeria, that progress has sparked renewed interest. A lot of people now are interested. I saw the fans turn up in Onikan over there. Nobody thought we had fans who were interested in tennis, but we're seeing it at that competition, the Davis Cup. How is the Federation converting this momentum? Because we now have the attention. How is the Federation converting this momentum into a sustainable grassroots development rather than a short-term excitement for the fans?
Yeah, I must thank you for that. That preamble was fantastic. It couldn't be better. There's renewed hope for tennis, and this is again the president's mantra: renewed hope for everything in Nigeria is renewed on renewed hope motions at the moment. So these are moments for tennis. What happened in Onikan was unbelievable, but I believed that it was going to happen because Uzbeks were better on paper, but we were better on the ground. And it's all about we going back to work on the players that we have and build our tennis to the point where it will go beyond what people imagine. The likes of Nduka Odizor, Sadiq Abdullahi, David Imoni, Tony Moore, they were all grassroots players who were picked up. Some of them were ball boys at Onikan there and grew up to fame. So we have what it takes. And I tell you, the victory of the boys, our boys at the last, what brought us Davis Cup World Group 2 after 40 years, close to 40 years, is a testament of the fact that we still have talents untapped at our grassroots. And if these young men could do this, then you can imagine how many others are out there languishing that are yet untapped. So this opens a vista for Nigeria Tennis Federation to have so many others who are out there, who are qualified, who can play very well, do better. It's just for us to discover them and put them on the right path and on the right footing, training, consistent coaching, of even the officiating, fantastic. We'll move them up to the next level. And for grassroots development, this is just the beginning, because it shows for Nigerian Tennis Federation we are starting on the very right footing.
Right footing indeed. Consider success from that game against Uzbekistan. But we know that a lot of us are singing the praises of Nduka Odizor. I remember the official handle of the ATP did celebrate him as the only Nigerian to have, dominated tennis so much that he's still being talked about at the moment. Now we are moving on a particular trajectory. We need to know how the Federation will be able to maintain this. Can we see players dominate, do more than what Nduka has ever done? Can we see them go out of the Davis Cup, have a little bit of exposure out there in the world of tennis?
Yeah, definitely. I want to promise that will happen. First, you see, Davis Cup is a team sport. You're representing your country. So, and the team came together played the doubles, and also played individually to represent the country. But ATP and other competitions are individual sports where the individuals will have to go there and play on behalf of themselves, but don't fly the country's flag. But I tell you, what we need to do is to develop these talents and have them play in more tournaments in the circuit or in the tour around the country, around the world rather. You have tours from J30, J60, the UTRs and the features going up to the ATPs. Our plan is to expose our players to that level of play. What do we need to do? We need a lot of sponsorship behind them. Now, because it's an individual sport, you don't have teams sponsoring them and corporate sponsorship, as it were. But the plan of the Nigerian Tennis Federation is to put massive sponsorship behind players that we identify, where we can put up a pool of funds to support them, and also support them that they can play to go up right there, and all you know, they can start playing qualifiers into the ATPs. And that's the beginning of it all. But we have to start somewhere, and that is mobilizing the resources for them to do that. And these resources does not necessarily have to come from federal government, but from corporate bodies, corporate organizations. I'm glad you saw what you saw at Onikan. You saw people who came out to watch tennis. You couldn't even believe that you have a lot of tennis lovers that much could come out for tennis. They are out there, but they need a concerted place where they can pull in their resources and the funds to put behind these players and expose the game and take the game to what they used to be before. The likes of Odizor and co enjoyed the time when we had the likes of the Lord Women's Club. You had Ube hard courts that was regular. You had Dala hard courts that was regular, and all of that. Nigeria was a hub for tennis at that time, but something happened and we lost it at some point. But the new tennis federation, Nigeria Tennis Federation, we are renewing the hope of tennis and ensuring that we get back to our days of glory where the likes of our greats, which we still call them today, happen. So it's a process. There's a strategy on ground which we are planning towards that. But be rest assured, we are working towards it. We have our next match with Morocco in September. We are not going to wait till then to start building a team. We'll start building the team now and putting them and exposing them to a whole lot of tours preparatory to that time, because as we get up the level in Davis Cup, it gets tougher. But we intend to go beyond this to Group 1 by the grace of God.
All right, that's the conversation we're going to focus on right now, because after that 3-1 win in that encounter against Uzbekistan, fans even want more. They want more. What are the structural gaps that have been identified by the Federation within the team setup in that game against Uzbekistan so we can address them before meeting Morocco? Can you share with us?
Okay, fine. The structural gaps we had was, the coaching, yes, the coaching was good, but we need to improve on it. There's a whole lot we need to improve on. We need to improve on the players' stamina and their fitness, their physio. We had one of our players cramping seriously. All of that needs to be done, taken care of. They are young, so when they play, yes, they get cramped, but exposing them to more tournaments will take care of a whole lot of that. And then putting the proper the medical team behind them. We need to create a whole ecosystem that will encourage and bring up brand new players. So structurally, you have officiating, you have the coaches, you have the players, and then you need the infrastructure. Good thing we have infrastructure, but most of them are concentrated in the urban areas. So we need to have more infrastructure, even in the grassroots area, as where this infrastructure will be developed. Once you have that development, then you now start looking at officials who will ensure that the game is played according to the rules. You now start looking at coaches who will ensure that our players are fit and ready for all the tournaments. No matter how, there's no small tournament. No matter how small the tournament is, you must have coaches who take their time to take these players through it all and then bring them to the bigger stage. These are the structures we intend to work on completely to ensure that the whole ecosystem is revamped and put tennis on the right footing. Not after football, but before football, I can assure you. That's our focus in Nigeria Tennis Federation.
All right, so Victor, I'm hoping that you're not going for a big ask for tennis to compete with football, but we can dream big. That's what this is all about, dreaming big.
Well, you're surprised now. You were surprised. Were you not surprised that you didn't believe you saw that crowd coming to watch tennis? Did you believe it?
I was surprised, and in the same way, I was also impressed with the facility I did see at Onikan there. Very interesting to see that tennis has been given so much attention like that. I know that it's important that you know what to do. You've identified those structural gaps and you're ready to work on them. But can you tell us how the preparations will be for the boys before they get to face Morocco? We do not want to see them with that fire brigade approach heading up to Morocco. The excitement we got when they won 3-1 against Uzbekistan, want to be able to put cherry on the cake when they face Morocco. So what are the preparations that have been put in place for them ahead of that encounter?
Okay, for now, what we have plans to put them, to take them through tours. They're going to play a whole lot of tournaments to meet different international tournaments, to meet their foreign partners and see how well they play. It's preparatory to September. Between now and September, there's a whole lot that's going to happen around our boys, particularly since we are preparing them for that fixture. I'm not going to stay here and say a whole lot of things because, of course, you also have people who are supporters of Morocco, and I'm not going to say the strategies, but both our coaching and every welfare surrounding our players and giving them the stamina, build on their muscles and all that will be taken care of. And ensure what is most important, that they're going to play in more tournaments that will prepare them for the match ahead, because the more they play, the more they get exposed, the more they see different styles of play. And of course, we're going to take a whole lot of time with the coaching team to understudy the Moroccans, their style of play. It's going to be a clay court. What they have over there is clay court. They played it in Lagos on hard court. So all of these are things we need to look at and see how the adjustments that needs to be made as we go preparing for the next tournament. But be rest assured that between now and the month of July, you see a whole lot of difference. If you ask me then what has happened to the boys, I'm sure the boys on their own will testify what is happening and how ready it will be for the bout.
All right, you've won our hearts at the moment after picking your slots to the next round of this playoff. We do not want you to dash our hopes. Do not dash our hopes. Tennis, please. You've got a lot of tennis lovers. And we'll be hoping you can do all that you can ahead of that encounter against Morocco. We also want to feel this excitement after the win against Morocco. We wish you all the best. We have been speaking to the president of the Nigerian Tennis Federation, Victor Ochei. Thank you so much for joining us on In the Game.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Great conversation there. We've been able to lay the cards on the table, see what the Nigerian Tennis Federation have put in place or are going to put in place ahead of encounters, especially for the playoffs, the Davis Cup playoffs.